Life is sweet. Let it sweep you off your feet.
Hi, this is Allie in Find Your Joy. I'm really excited today. I have someone who I've worked with on a professional level and now become a very lovely friend of mine, Brenda Wollenberg. Now, Brenda her history is rich and wonderful, and we're going to find out all about it. She's from Imbalance Lifestyle Management, and she is a guru, if I don't mind saying so myself, of all things nutrition. Hi, Brenda.
Thank you, Allie. I don't think I've been introduced ever as that. So thank you. Lovely to see you. I love working with you. And you are, like you said, becoming dear friends. Really appreciate you. So, yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about where to even start with you, because you have all this amazing stuff that you do with holistic nutrition and the gene reset. And none of this will make sense to the listeners right now, but I'm just going to fire off a bunch of things and then we'll work backwards and we'll figure it all out. But you do the gene reset blueprint where we do DNA and find out actually what's best for us. You do the holistic part of it where you look really at balanced lifestyles and clean eating. You come from a pastoral background and a social work background. So basically, when someone comes to work with you, they have a team. Even when they're just standing with you, there's this, it's like a choir. It's this huge team of people. And, an author, wait a second, you're an author. And oh my gosh, there's so many things. So where would you like to start? Where did this journey start for you with, you were born a crop farmer's daughter. No, it started, what started first? The chicken or the egg?
What started first was very typical in holistic fields, whether it's social work or nutrition, maybe even pastoring, is like you yourself were sick. You didn't feel good, so that was, I would say, I came from, and I love my parents. They're both passed now. In later years, they got like really much more healed and restored. But initially, I'd be lying if I said I didn't go into social work to see if I couldn't heal some of my own stuff. At least sort through some things and figure some things out. So that would be the social work component. And partway through that is when I just realized, like, I am a pretty sick puppy here. Had been a sick kid, had rheumatic fever at 5. At that point, the standard response was daily antibiotics. So like 7 years, I took antibiotics every single day. And you just end up with, digestive system issues, thyroid, the whole long litany of complaint. And somebody finally came up to me when we were, my husband was pastoring, we weren't yet co-pastoring yet. And she said to me, like, I think I need to see my boyfriend. Like, you're like not well. And I'm like, first off, who the heck is your boyfriend? Turns out he was some master herbalist. He would be a guru, was doing vitamin formulations for prominent Canadian companies and stuff. She said, you need to go see him. She said, you're tired all the time. Frankly, you're quite cranky. And she goes, I really think you used to be smarter when I first met you. So anyways, put on my Irish hat and said, okay, I'll go see this guy. And what he tells me to do doesn't work. In 2 weeks, I'm going back to eating peak greens and Nanaimo-bars. And well, the rest was history. And that was like, oh my goodness, 40 years ago.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So that was how wonderful and brave of her to care enough to come and say that to you.
Exactly. And we have stayed friends and we joke about that at that time. But yeah, I was annoyed at her, but it was a gift, a huge gift. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you started to work. Now you're already working as a social worker at that time.
Yeah.
On a it sounds to me like a very good diet, peak greens and Nanaimo-bars. I mean, how can you? I mean, I think there's coconut. There's coconut in the base of a Nanaimo-bar. I think that sounds pretty good. And so then when you were with him, did he just tell you to change how you ate? Did he start you on herbs? How did that go?
Yeah, so he was a member of Mensa, which meant that most of the things that he said in the sessions went completely over my head. I consider myself a really lovely nutritionist, let's face it, Allie, I give you handouts, I follow up with you, I give you color-coded charts. I'm just scribbling notes in these sessions. I don't know what he's saying. I go home. The next time I accidentally see him somewhere, he's like, "You're chewing gum. Did I tell you could chew gum?" I don't know. Did you explain that in language I could understand? So, I mean, I love the guy. I mean, without him, I would be dead in the water. Okay. Having said that, it was a bit of a challenge sorting that through. So yes, I was doing my day job as a social worker in working with some very challenging scenarios. Loved what I did, really loved it, but it's pretty stressful, just the kind of bringing that home. So he helped to balance me, gave me very specific diet recommendations, exercise recommendation, made me read big books, and I worked with him and just like voluntarily helped him do some of his training things, and he would do house meetings and teach people how to eat well. So I would tag along and cook some tofu and whatever kinds of things, and I really appreciate him. He mentored me a lot, and I learned a lot. So yes, I did herbs as well, sarsaparilla burdock bath, sitting in my bathroom with the shower going and drinking burdock tea, like kind of strange things, but they really worked. Yeah.
Wow. And so it started that way with you sort of following along, and then when you started doing your own courses, or where did this all start to? Oh, and I was going to say too, this is what I almost forgot. We'll talk later, but maybe one of the two of us will remember this. Eating the tofu and the different ways about tofu, because that's a whole thing that you needed to learn as well, because you at one point created a household of vegetarians,
right,
whether they wanted that or not.
Yes, we will come back to that painful memory from my children. So yes, I was juggling these things. We did, was it there? Yes, it was in Alberta. We did do the little couple of years of foray into vegetarianism, and that was not something that my herbalist had recommended. That was me doing my own research. At that point, we had parted ways, not unhappily. I moved to a different province, and so I just didn't see him that much. So I did my own research, started doing writing in this field, as a social work kind of wellness. I think it was called In Balance or Body in Balance. So I had a couple of small newspaper columns, that kind of thing. But what ended up happening was, latest research showed me we should all be vegetarian. So 5 kids and a husband, a 6'2" German husband, played football in university or high school, and all these. I don't know what I was thinking, but anyways, I wasn't thinking a lot about genetics and the fact that he probably evolved almost directly from a Neanderthal person, and somehow I thought he would just gravitate to the last 10,000 years when we've eaten a lot of animal products and vegetable products and grains, and it didn't do well. Family members took dives. Physically, I saw it with things like energy, stamina, moods, massive weight gain from my husband, and eating a really well-balanced. This wasn't like the Nanaimo Bars and Peak Freens vegan diet or vegetarian diet. This was like homemade bread with fresh ground wheat, and tofu 18,000 ways, but in a good form of it. It wasn't like the processed kind of Beyond Burger type stuff that they have now,
Right.
And I just had to watch deterioration happening for, one child in particular. School calling us in, wondering if, intimating that perhaps that child was developing ADHD, and intimating we should be considering medication. And not opposed to medication. Medication is great for lots of things. But I just thought, hold it, what's wrong with this picture? This was not an issue this was, I think, grade 4 or 5. And I thought, okay, we need to take a look at this. And what have we done? The only thing we've done is drastically changed our diet in the last 18 months, 2 years. So,
wow.
So came across a really cool book on body typing, metabolic typing, how we're all different. And that would, of course, because of genetics, but by that time we hadn't mapped the human genome yet, so we weren't actually in that language. But had my husband do the survey, and he came out as strong need for animal protein and much more fat than we were eating on a vegetarian diet. So switched it all up, bought the guy a cow, and just like that, it was like right before my eyes that, you know how you have those epiphanies and you go, I need to remember this.
I remember.
I need to not be one size fits all wherever I am. Yeah. So
and we can get like that, right? Like especially when you think around, I'll just specifically vegetarianism, or it could be anything, right? I mean,
keto,
I think sometimes I want to be a vegetarian. I know now that is not the best for my body type. Or we look at anything like keto or any way. It doesn't really matter, not to pick on one or the other, but
exactly.
We are different.
Yes. And because you're exactly right. That doesn't in any form mean that a vegetarian diet is bad or a vegan diet is bad or paleo is bad. What it means is that it is only helpful for some people. And so it really is good if you understand who you are, what your body does best on, and then we can still have the conversation another time about and what's good for animals, and is grass-fed and pasture-raised and small farm and permaculture better? Absolutely. If you're eating meat, should you be eating meat from a factory farm? Probably not. Like there's all those kinds of issues beyond it. My clients that eat meat, my family members that eat meat, it's like, get the best sources that you can that's better for you, the planet, the animals. And so you want to make sure that it's not just what do I need to do at the expense of everybody else or every other thing on the earth, but what do I need to do in cooperation with that? So.
Yeah. And so how did you, so I was thinking about when you were talking about the body types, and I can remember, so there was the eat right for your type, and then there was eat right for your, I'm not going to remember the name correctly, but blood type.
Yeah.
And that, I think that was probably like scratching the surface of what you're doing now. At least sort of looked at was the best they could do with what they had.
Exactly. And some of those things we now know, for example, the eat right for your blood type, we now know that maybe some of the things that were talked about in that was looking at lectins, maybe that isn't all there is to it. But I really think that the metabolic typing, the body typing, people are really recognizing something that Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine have recognized for thousands and thousands of years, which is that people are different. And we need to, TCM doctors prescribe different herbs, Ayurvedic medicine practitioners, different types of diets based on, you could have the same ailment, but you would leave their office with different prescriptions. And that's because they recognize that, I think, way before maybe Western medicine recognized that, now that it's actually science-based, that you can do a spit test and you can get this lovely printout of your DNA. Now I think Western medicine is going like, oh, cool, we have, this. So I think there's more of a growing recognition that this can play a role in health. Yeah.
Great. And just what's available. I mean, I love that it's growing exponentially. What was available, I remember it seemed like cutting edge when I had to go and try to find what my blood type was to try to eat. But that was like, even trying to find that out was, and then it was, oh my gosh. And I remember, I'm a B, and everything it said in that book was correct about me. It said, you've probably tried being a vegetarian, and that didn't really work for you, because that's and it didn't say that in the other blood types, right? But it was very, very specific. And I remember that. And you did fairly well on it when I did it. It's like anything. I do. Basically, I'll say this: all of them work for if you do them. if we do them. I don't know why I can't have peak freens and Nanaimo bars and thrive. Doesn't seem fair. Yes, doesn't seem fair at all. But here we are, and we're sort of figuring it out. So then you partnered with Alicia. And you started, and so tell me a little bit about the partnership and how that happened and what you're both doing in that. And
sure, Absolutely. So Alicia Mazzari Anderson, you can have her on here one day too. She's a
Oh, that'd be,
hoot, okay.
yes.
She is a fellow nutritionist as well. She's also a PhD biologist. And so I met her through a mutual friend. We were trying to figure out that I think it's almost a dozen years ago now. And we just hit it off. The friend brought her over to my house, and like 4 hours later, we're still sitting in the living room, So she is amazing. She is of Mexican descent, born in Mexico City. Just cooks up a mad Mexican dinner, let me tell you. But she's super smart in science. She teaches cell biology at university post-secondary level and a number of different institutions and different types of biology. And so we started working together. She became a nutritionist in my imbalance program. And so we developed a kids program together, and, we just had lots of things that we worked on together in nutrition. But about 5 years ago, she messaged me one day, said, "You got to come with me to this conference. You have to come. It's on genetics, and it's the way we're going. This is so exciting, and you need to come." And I'm like, "Hey, Alicia, my last science course was university when I was figuring out if I wanted to be a social worker or not, or a PE teacher. And we do take chemistry and organic chemistry and biology and anatomy and physiology and nutrition, but that wasn't yesterday." Okay. She goes, "Oh, no problem. Come. I'm going, yeah, you're a PhD. Okay. I sat by her, and the best part of that whole day seminar was I looked over at her and I went, "Oh, she's overwhelmed too. This is really good." Because of course, she is a biologist, but they didn't have the human genome mapped when she took her PhD. It's only been 20 years. Okay. So she has a much broader base of learning than I do, but we have partnered up in this field because we started catching glimpses of, because I had taught her about body typing. So she was doing that, but this was like body typing on steroids. We thought if we can figure this out with people and help them personalize their macronutrient ratio, whether they should be intermittent fasting or eating 3 meals a day, what types of exercise their muscles are actually designed to best function on. And it was just like, wow. So that's why we're doing that. And that's why we've now partnered up and created, we both were doing kind of one-off things with people, and, an hour and a half session. We had some software that we had access to that we were trained in using that we could use with that. But then a couple of years ago, started using a different set of software, more expensive for us to use, but much more fine-tuned details. And it's just really changed how we do nutrition for ourselves. Like the fact that I could be working in this field for 40 years and I'm still learning things new that help me sleep better, help me do this. That's cool that you can keep on learning like that. And it's why we want to have our clients have that level of understanding as well. So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I was going to say too, so I've taken a few things, and just took the genetic reset. I will retake it. I'm just in the middle of another course right now, so we couldn't take it this time. But just because it's exciting and wonderful, and I want to explore it even deeper, and it's nice to do that in a group setting. I can save for me. So just the macros that we set up for me. It is sort of like, I would say for any musician, when I walk up to a soundboard, and the difference of playing with those knobs and fine tuning, the high ends and the low ends and the reverb and all of that. And there's just that machine, and it can make me sound great or horrible. And I'm going to liken this whole gene reset program to that. In that when I'm doing, so I'm at 50, 25, 20, that's my personal thing, right? So, and when I fine tune it, literally day to day, like if I go off and I'm not even not eating clean, I have those days too, but if I'm following it, I just don't quite get the balance right. It can be the difference if I have 8 or 5 hours sleep this night. Like that's, and it's because I'm getting to understand it that much that I'm like, okay, so this stuff really works. And it could be as simple as it's just what I do best at. So it's just like if I'm if I'm setting a sound system for someone's voice, one person might sound better if they have a little bit more bottom end on their voice or a little more high end. If I put them both at the same one of them's going to sound screechy and one of them's going to sound muddy. That's just for all my musician friends out there. This works the same way for me. That's what I'm finding out. I'm like, oh, and well, why does it matter if you do it just one day? Well, if I come in and just one day give you a lot of bottom end in your voice, and you already have that, that's how it's going to work. And that's how it's worked for me, is figuring that out. I'm like, and the other part of it that's great for me is that I used to always think I should, right? I was always shoulding on myself, right? I should have been this, I should have been that, I should do it this way. Well, how come I can't do it that way? Other people do it that way. Well, I work best at this certain things. I do great at aquafit. I do great at walks. I do these certain things that are just, and then when I read, and then it's exactly what's on my thing. I'm like, okay, so that's just what works best for me. That's not because I'm not disciplined enough to go jogging. It's my body doesn't, it just doesn't thrive there.
Yeah. Okay.
It's exciting.
I just love your explanation. I'm going to steal it with credit.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that whole soundboard thing, that is brilliant, because that really is what it is about. And and we can reset genes so that, then we don't have to stay within those thresholds quite as much. We can give a little more tolerance in that.
Yes.
But we typically, science seems to be showing it's about an 8-week, pretty consistent adherence to what your genes love, that you can do that reset, kind of like an electrical panel, just flips everything back in the right place again, until next time you have a stressful power surge or something and you need another little break.
Yes.
But that's exactly it. And then it takes the pressure off, doesn't it? Like, you don't have to worry what your buddy is doing. And like, so
it doesn't matter.
And
this is just how it works. And just like a sound system, if I go into a new room, I've got to reset it. It's not going to be the exact same. So that's why I like it that way. But here's something that was really interesting. I went for a walk with a friend today, and we were talking about something, and she had mentioned something earlier, and in the middle of it, I referred to that. So why that matters is that I'm a person recovering with a brain injury, and so I have had memory issues. So I've been doing lots of stuff for my brain and things like that. But she said to me, I referred back to it. I said, oh, but blah, 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 and you were going to mention this. And she stopped and looked at me. And this is a person who's been watching me for the last 8 years in my recovery. And she said, you're the one with the brain injury? And I said, I'm doing better. I'm doing better. Like, all the things that I'm doing are helping me.
Yes.
So I can still, have a too busy day, or not sleep enough, or not eat the best way for my body. And I can, have a not so good day. But when I do things that are working well, and that's the things that, I feel like, when you just find out something new and you think it's great and you want to scream it from the rooftops, like I'm a born again gene resetter. Like,
hey, join the club. Okay. Yeah. Like I saw this cartoon yesterday. I posted it in this group, and it was something to the effect, a couple were leaving at the end of their first date. And he said, well, that was really lovely. He said, I didn't know that people could respond to saturated fat that way. So I literally said to the people in the group this time, you may be very keen on this. It does not mean that every other single person in your life wants to know about this. But it is clear that when you do get sold on it, and you start noticing benefit. I know you're still killing yourself with that. I couldn't stop laughing. I think you had to be there to get it, But my husband I showed it to him. He just rolled his eyes. He goes, "Been there, done that. Forget first date. It's my whole life." So yeah.
I'm sitting there, offer a friend muffins that I made today. My lemon blueberry muffins, and And so she starts talking about something, and I said, "Oh, wait a second." So I go grab my phone, I grab my Fitbit, and I start to show her. Well, it has this many carbs, but because of the fiber, it's this many. And then I said, "Now it does have this many grams of fat, but 0 trans." And then I started, and she's like this. She goes,
Too much
"Yeah,
information.
I like the muffin." Right?
So yes, you completely get that. And that's why I also try to tell people that much as I love the whole, genetic, it's epigenetics field, nutrigenomics, whatever you want to call it, it is one piece of the puzzle. It's all the other stuff we talk about. But mind you, it's included in the resets around self-regulation, around way neurotransmitters work, all those kind of things. So yes, it is one piece of the puzzle, but it encompasses a lot of things, and it enables lots of pennies to drop, so that I think it gives people hope that, oh, okay, I can stick with this for a while, see how it goes, but it seems that it's what my body is really wanting, So I think that's, it's like, yes, does someone ever need to go see a doctor? Of course. Do they have other things that have to happen? Yes. But will this potentially play a significant role in wellness? Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I love that. And just also the part of it for me, that as I start to feel better, the other things take their place, because everything can feel like a big deal when things aren't functioning so well. And so as everything starts to take its place and it just starts to work a wee bit better, then like you said, it's one piece of it. It's like we were talking about this about I was at a wellness expo on the weekend, and people like to as you know, people like to, a lot of people feel comfortable if they can say what category you fit in. That works for all of us. It's a human thing. I just need to know where to put you.
It's easier.
Are you my friend, my mother, my sisters, brothers, whatever? Are you a healer? Are you a musician? They just, people like to have that. And we were talking about, I thought, okay, well, I'm trained in this, I'm trained in that. They're asking a lot of questions. And I said, but it's just all part of how it works. I don't want to make any one of it my religion. I just, this helps this, and then none of it is going to work without good nutrition, because I'm not going to be able to function to do it. That's the bottom line. It's not right, wrong, shame. It's not about that. It's how do I feel? How can I think?
Yes.
And the other thing is, I watched 2 parents live into their 90s, and one with, had a lot of health issues because of how things went earlier. And so it's like, great to live to 90, but not if the last 10 or 15 years absolutely suck.
I know.
Sick and in pain the whole time. No, then I don't want to live into my 90s and hundreds and things like that. I want to live healthy. I want to feel alive and
No, absolutely. It's vibrancy is the way to go, not just longevity. You want them paired, I would say.
Yes, because there's no joy. There's no, that's the whole point of it, right? Is I feel joyful and better when I'm feeling joyful and better.
Yeah, exactly.
You might want to write that down. Boy, wasn't that smart.
That's a great name for a podcast, something along that theme, Yeah.
How would that go? I'm not sure. We'll come up with it by the end of it, right? I know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, first of all, I'm so grateful that you took the time to hang out with me. I'm hoping that we might be able to do some more, but I think, is Noah here?
Yes, he is. He's in his little bouncing chair right by the door here. So,
oh, hi, Noah.
Looking at Anna, so that's good. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's beautiful. This is Brenda's newest grandchild. Noah has just arrived. Yes. So we'll all say hi and bye to Noah. And but before we sign off, though, Brenda, is there anything that we didn't cover that you would in this session, because I'll be getting her back. That's coming on.
I think just, to help people understand that there is hope. Like no matter what's been going on, no matter how many things you have tried, you just might not have hit the thing that works best for you yet. And it can feel very confusing. Yes, I see you, sweetheart. It can be very challenging and frustrating and depressing sometimes. So I just would say, be at hope. It just might be that you haven't landed on what's best for you yet. You were trying things that were best for other people. So hang in there, get some more input, really pay attention to yourself, what seems to resonate, because a lot of gurus out there telling people a lot of different things to do. So pay attention. When something kind of really resonates, think, maybe that's worth exploring a little more. And you pop on, talk to people who've been there and tried different things. Give me a call. I have free little wellness calls, and we can just dialogue and just see what the next step might be for you. But it's not over yet, no matter what your situation is. Everything can still change. All right. And even if it's like, a wise friend talked to me about learning to be present when it doesn't feel like it's changing. That's a really important thing too. So yeah.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Feelings aren't facts.
No, yeah. Exactly.
Well, thanks so much. Now, I'm going to have all of Brenda's contact information will be in the show notes. So you will be able to contact Brenda. This is Allie and Find Your Joy. Brenda, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Allie. Loved it. Always love chatting with you. Okay.
Thank you so much. And to our listeners, thanks very much. Take good care. And do remember, find your joy. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you found a piece of your joy in this episode, I would love to hear about what came up for you so that we can continue to grow the impact of this show. Thanks again. See you soon. And remember, find your joy.